New York City. At the dawn of the 80s, it was exploding with opportunity.
Boom times. That's what the numbers signal today, an economy that's on a roll in this country.
A place to seek money, power, fame. Amid the glitz and greed, 5 titans seized their moment. But by the end of the decade, that moment had passed. And we'd put greed behind us for good. Or had we?
The President of the United States!
A hotshot developer was dodging questions about soaring debt.
Trump, the cash crunch.
And scandalous behavior.
Well, she's a fantastic woman, but I won't say any more.
But the tabloids that helped make him were about to take him down.
You have a lot of very dishonest reporters, in my opinion.
A hard-charging prosecutor had become a candidate for mayor.
The word impossible is just not in my vocabulary.
But some in the city were growing tired of his crusades.
The people of our town don't want a prosecutor, they want a mayor.
A celebrity Don was back on trial, feeding a media frenzy.
The Gotti trial is the hottest show off Broadway.
And when the verdict was read,
the Teflon is gone, the Don is covered with Velcro.
Hundreds of Gotti supporters, outraged by that sentence, tried to storm the Brooklyn courthouse.
And while the former king of Wall Street was finally headed for jail, the Queen of Mean was mounting a last-ditch effort to remain a free woman.
Not guilty, not guilty. I am innocent.
You know, these are rats.
That was it. I'm going to take you out, you're going to take me out. This isn't going to end well.
I've never seen anybody so heartbroken in my life. She was devastated.
There was almost a daily feeling of how crazy this is.
These larger-than-life figures would forever change our idea of success.
My new game is Trump, the game.
And excess.
42 million.
And though at the end of the 80s we may have delighted in their downfall,
these are card-carrying, crashing egotists.
our celebration of their values was just beginning.
But you have said that if you ran for president, you'd win.
I think I'd have a very good chance.
Smart, has done very well for himself for an ex-Chippendale dancer. A man who 5 minutes after he got here tried to buy our studio. So, who is this famous billionaire?
He was the man with the Midas touch, builder of golden towers, high-rolling casino operator, best-selling author, myth-maker of epic proportions.
How rich are you, just basically, right now?
Well, it depends on which magazine you read.
I mean, how much you got in your wallet?
He was also sitting on a mountain of debt and an explosive personal secret. But with every breathless news report, his legend only grew, until it really did seem like his potential was limitless.
He had his buildings, he had his hotels, and he presented himself, as he does now, as a man who was incredibly financially successful. Privately, his businesses were having more trouble than he would let on.
He was a guy who thought he was invincible from a business standpoint and also from a personal standpoint.
And he gets the idea in his head that he should be running everything.
Trump has said, quite seriously, that he's a good enough bargainer to negotiate a nuclear disarmament treaty with the Russians.
Donald first publicly talked about being president in 1987. He knew all he had to do was keep pressing ahead, and he would have a shot at it.
You have said that if you ran for president, you'd win.
I think I'd have a very good chance. I mean, I like to win.
Roger Stone, a longtime political operative, called him a prime piece of political horseflesh. It was his idea for Trump to go to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where he gave a talk at a Rotary Club and created quite a stir.
This country is being taken such advantage of. We need strength. I mean, you think Gorbachev is tough. Think of this character, Khomeini. I mean, this son of a bitch is something like nobody's ever seen.
Trump wanted to create the notion that he was so
competent, that he was so great at what he did, that he could do the hardest, most important job in the world, and that's being president.
I love the country, but I think you're going to have probably George Bush as your next president. He's an excellent guy, an excellent man. He's a friend of mine, and I'm here for that reason.
And that was not a serious idea in the late 80s, but it planted a seed that this guy, a developer in New York, a celebrity, the author of The Art of the Deal, would be trafficking in political ideas. He was laying groundwork for what we would see decades later.
Good luck, everyone. Thank you all for being here.
Donald Trump had delusions of grandeur from the get-go. At the same time, big, legitimate banks enabled Donald Trump. They kept giving him money.
Donald is already starting to file tax returns that would indicate he was losing money, not making money.
Is Donald Trump in financial trouble? Some in the financial community are looking for signs that Trump may be trying to raise cash because of a current or anticipated shortage caused by heavy debt.
But in the meantime, there was a constant flow of money from Wall Street and from investors. So when the opportunity came to grab a hold of the biggest, most luxurious casino in Atlantic City, the Taj Mahal, he took it.
Donald Trump today opened the doors to his billion-dollar gamble, his new Atlantic City casino, the Taj Mahal.
It had been under construction for several years. It was way over budget, but it was supposed to dominate the whole Atlantic City gambling scene.
The Taj Mahal stretches out over 17 acres along the boardwalk. There's glitz and glitter galore, $15 million worth of chandeliers and 1,200 luxury hotel rooms.
He buys it with entirely borrowed money, junk bond, $675 million at 14% interest. He's got over $250,000 a day bill just for interest on the bonds, and close to another $1 million a day to pay all the other bills of running the place, and of course paying out the few winners that were out there.
The Trump executives insist they can make $1 million a day the experts say they'll need just to pay for the casino.
And that is something that had never happened at any casino anywhere in the world at that point. So it was not just ambitious, it was stupid.
I do have a risk, I do have a financial risk, but I have also a reputation risk, and that's very important to me.
From day one. There are hundreds of contractors and vendors who are delivering goods to him, and he's not paying them because he doesn't have the income to support all the borrowing he's done. And then the day came when Donald couldn't pay the monthly payments on his debt, and it's very clear that this is going to collapse.
There was almost a daily feeling of how crazy this is.
So $1 million a day, while it sounds like a lot of money for the building that we're talking about, should be very easily made.
We realized that Donald was uncontrollable.
New York City, 1989.
New York is a city overwhelmed by crime, crack, and corruption. The fear in our streets, parks, and subways all point to a city that is out of control.
He was the avenging U.S. attorney with an audacious crime-busting record. And he was now closer than ever to his ultimate goal of winning political office. With crime rates surging in 1989, no one seemed better suited to become New York City's next mayor.
From a policing perspective, it's a very violent era. This was a very constant topic of conversation, the level of violence in the city.
Giuliani ran as the law and order candidate, and New York needed more law and order.
As mayor, I will lead the battle to take our streets back, parks back, subways back from the criminals.
And saw this as an opportunity to clean up the city.
Giuliani remains a major threat to Koch's chances for a fourth term, assuming the mayor survives the Democratic primary, particularly the challenge from David Dinkins.
David Dinkins had risen through the ranks to become Manhattan Borough President, a somewhat powerful job.
During the primary, race relations were very tender. When Dinkins came in as someone who might be a healer.
I felt the rise of David Dinkins in the context of a series of racial events through the 80s.